Hello and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. That was me looking off camera to see if I had the book ready, which I don't, so it's the same one I held up last time and is on a shelf somewhere behind me. You can get your own copy of this book over at Chaosium.com, where they do have copies, so you can have one and you can hold it up in front of camera. Good job.
Did you say what the book was before you looked for it? I'm not sure.
The Order of the Stone? Did I not say? The Order of the Stone? It's in big print up here. The Order of the Stone on the Stream of Chaos. Strong start, very strong start. We are continuing our playthrough. All of these are collected over on the YouTube channel, and we do also have a Twitch channel where we play them live, and you can join us in the chat. Thank you to Roll20, whose tools we used throughout this campaign, and a swift return to the scenario at hand, as my dog barks in the background. So this is chapter 2. We are in Greyport, and after 2 full days of investigation, the crew of the Foggy Sea have reconvened at the harbour aboard their ship to discuss their next moves. It has just gone 10:15, approaching 10:30, and the stage is set for action. The police are at the nearby cannery, having pursued an alert delivered by Luce McAllister, and the crew of the Sea's Gifts, suspected smugglers or alcohol bootleggers, have fled and sailed out into the harbour and dropped anchor. They would be hidden, but they were tracked as they left, and their location is known to our crew. Elsewhere, in the woods, members of the Order of the Stone, more specifically the Boston faction, are camping out, having recently taken young Gaspar Green pseudo-hostage, a soft hostage situation, and releasing him with a dire warning to leave this place and abandon all investigation. Bernie Green followed and has relieved them of their map, which will probably become known to them at some point when they wake up in the morning, perhaps. There is also the entire town of Greyport still existing, good for them. And not too far up the coast to the north, there is the house of one Lucas Barnes, where you believe the ship that sailed out to the SS Champagne and possibly retrieved Dr. Sebastian and his crew made its harbour and has since sunk below the waves. So much to talk about, much to do. We will return to the scenario with all of you gathered aboard your ship down in the hold, discussing your next moves. We'll hurtle around the table and reintroduce our investigators, and sort of under the context of a very long day's work, a little bit tired, but feeling the energy as things begin to come together. You begin to feel your hands on more levers and the ability to exert change. Art, could you begin with Luce?
Hi, I'm Art. I'm playing Luce McAllister, ship's mechanic.
All right, Jackson, can you... Jackson, can you go Gaspar? Let's keep it tight.
Is that what? Okay. Jack playing Gaspar Green. Boy.
Fantastic. James.
Yep, I am James. I'm playing. Oh my god, I'm so shocked by this. I've forgotten my own goddamn name. I'm playing Paul Garrett. I am the first mate. Yeah.
Fantastic. Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I am playing Bunny Green, captain of the Foggy Sea.
And we salute you. The 4 of you are gathered in the hold alongside Joe Evans, who's probably actually above deck, just keeping tabs on anyone that comes and goes. He will alert you if it looks like the police are moving or if there's any other lights transitioning around the area. But apart from that, the stage is yours. As I said, 10:15 or so. You are tired, you've had a long day, but perhaps under the cover of night now is your chance to act. I'll pass it across to the 4 of you. And Jackson, given you weren't here last week, I haven't given you a rundown, but any qualification questions, sort of hindsight rolls, things you want to make, we can handle all of those as needed. All right, I'll pass it to you guys.
I'll flag quickly that I'm clearing space in the room wherever we are for where my motorcycle is gonna go, because we can't leave it here if we are casting off, and I am gonna have to bring it on the ship, but
surely still strapped down above deck.
Oh
So we're back
yeah,
on the, we're back on the boat.
back on the road.
And what's the plan? We're going to the creepy house?
Unset.
And to the boat that we know the thing is
Well,
at.
yes, Luce and I took the Foggy Sea out onto the jaunt down the coast, found the house, found something else in the water with the ship. Did not look too closely because hate that. There is something in the sunken.
There's an argument
vessel.
for not going by sea. There's an argument for going by land. But I believe, like, if I remember the end of last session correctly, it was we got told by the order to GTFO, and also the Sea's gifts kind of implied wanted us to GTFO. So we were considering maybe GTFOing.
The police are also snooping around, and we were just with.
Oh, the police are fine. Police are chill. I had a nice chat with the sheriff's fine. I like the sheriff. He's cool.
Police looking into the Sea's gifts.
The police weren't looking into the Sea's gifts. The sheriff came and had a nice chat to me, and was like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I just went, "By the way, we got left a very strange note at the B&B saying come and meet us at the cannery. I don't know what it's about. I don't know if you know what it's about, but I just thought I'd let you know." And then also,
do we know what it's about?
No.
Yeah, the Sea's gifts. The chat that I had with the sheriff was like, yeah, you know, big lad who was mentioned in the papers, who's real antsy about everything that's happening. Can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Jacob Linden.
Thank
Oh
you,
yeah,
Linden.
that's Jacob Linden. Isn't that the guy whose house?
No, different
absolutely
person.
fine.
Different person. But the implication from the sheriff was, yeah, Jacob Linden has gotten it in his head that, you know, everything's like taking things into his own hands. So possibly the conversation is him being like, go away. And so he grabbed the deputy and went to that meeting instead of us to like go and see what the hell was going on and make sure that like everything was on the up and up, which is why the Sea's Gifts is now halfway out to sea, because the sheriff rocked up instead of us. So as far as I'm concerned, like the sheriff is not someone that like we want to be like, hey, so have you heard of our Lord and Savior Cthulhu? Because I think that would probably be not great. But
We like
from the
him well
interaction
enough.
I had, seemed fine. Seemed like
All right, great.
someone that is not going to make trouble for us if we don't make trouble for him.
We like him well enough that we don't want to ruin his life by dragging him into all of
Yeah,
this.
we were considering sicking him on the stony cultists, not the squiddy cultists.
But no, we think the Order of the Stone is kind of, you know, maybe not here to ruin everyone's day, right?
Oh no, I think in the last session we decided they sucked.
They ruined
And we were going
Doris's
to
day.
make their life difficult.
It was, from your perspective, Gaspar, they were, like, they did take you hostage, so, but they didn't hurt you or anything. They did threaten you and tell them that they said they were capable of killing Marco and they would be capable of killing you if you continue to look down this path. So they definitely weren't open to it. But then you did play a little bit of defense, didn't give them too much information, and tried to just kind of get out. It was,
Yeah, gotcha.
you probably would have the impression that yes, if you went and tried to seek a relationship with them and like talk and share information back and forth, you might be able to build one. But at the moment, you probably are at odds with one another, just in like intent. Yeah.
Essentially,
Even though
we're
we
two
both
separate groups of
don't.
investigators who don't trust each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's fine. Well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna take let's take the fight to the house, right? Because I mean, if they've got an urn there, we got to stop that from
I'm
happening.
wondering whether it's worth taking the Foggy Sea to a slightly different part of the coast, like an inlet that's nearby, and still go by land. Because going
there's an
into the
inlet
water, there's a
next.
thing in the water.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Here's my pitch. I got this.
B flat?
I don't want to say it.
Spell.
It's a spell, and it's a warding spell, and it you know, you draw up a circle and sigils and stuff, and it keeps you safe from the monster. And it seems like you probably put that on the boat if we take the boat in, but we can't do that if we park the boat somewhere else. If we park the Foggy Sea somewhere else.
I actually think that one of our most offensive aspects at the minute is kind of we do have a boat. Yeah, this Sea's Gift can potentially cause us trouble, but we are.
I don't think
I'm concerned about the seas gifts. I'm concerned about the weird thing in the water, like underneath the surface.
I agree, it's a concern, but as you were saying, Gaspard, the symbols are probably going to keep us somewhat safe, and I'd really like to just. I feel like there's enough to find out about in that boat before we go to the house, but I understand it's a risk. We might want to just head straight to the house.
The boat is under the water. Next to the house. So yeah, we could, but we would be there's a jetty and then there's the house, right?
Yeah, you
or
guys.
Is the jetty a little ways away?
No, the jetty's pretty close to the house. It was a personal one, just for hobbycraft. It's the cove is deep enough that the foggy sea can get in. The wreckage of the prior ship will make it hard to dock. You basically need to come alongside it and tidy it, or drop anchor and swim to shore from a short distance away, or roll well on a piloting boat check. You know, like it'll need a little creative thinking, basically.
I mean, if you want to put a sigil on the side of the boat, I haven't had a chance to use my welding skill yet, so let's go.
We could also, think about doing a bit of defensive stuff. Like we know about this thing's patterns of ingress based on last time. So if we can just get one door, like we block off the other one so that it can only come through one way into the ship or something.
I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna read up on the spell and then see what it can do.
We should also
Ideally it comes in no ways. Just putting that one out there.
Yeah. Just based on last time, we should be ready for not necessarily trusting each other 100% when we see it.
Right. Yes. Thank you for
We don't
bringing
have
that
a
one up,
depth
Paul.
charge or something, do we?
Well, I did pump a bunch into demolitions. I assume I've got something on the boat that I could.
We could possibly buy some. Like we could actually fashion a.
I mean, I don't mean to bring up old situations, but what's the difference between a depth charge and a boiler exploding? Already tried that once before.
Boiler exploding would definitely take out the foggy sea. Alex, on you carrying depth charges and the like.
Not like depth charge, but I could probably.
Bringing explosives aboard your own ship would be risky, but you did come here with some suspicion. I think, could you make a luck roll for me and see if you've maybe
the famous green luck.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's a no.
I think no, unfortunately. But as we've said in nigh every campaign we've ever run, I think dynamite is pretty readily available at general stores. So the general store would possibly have some. This is a little bit of a ways out. It might not be a lot, but you could try that maybe.
And also, were we intending
the other
to go
thing is that we're
tonight?
pretty sure that these things are pretty much unassailable into a large degree, right?
Yeah, it's more we want a way to dispose of the to get the urn somewhere that it is not going to be accessible to human hands anymore. You know, it's that. I mean, the whole reason we sank the last ship.
Dave, can I get the spec sheet on the Foggy Sea? How big is it?
Yeah, it's a modest ship. I had an image I googled at one point. I don't have stats as written.
I was hoping I just want a number, like a size. Length.
Give me 10 seconds to Google, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. The other thing, just quick, I'm thinking ridiculous ideas at this point. So I'll entertain them just so we can kind of knock them down. We know that it's kind of it sees via cruelty seems to be the read that we got from last time. Like it exists to try and annoy us. I'm wondering if we come in a dive suit or something, like can we actually just make it think we're not there or something? If we disable our own senses or something.
I for sure was thinking you were gonna go with if we come in with clown suits, so it doesn't
that sounds
which
great.
Honestly,
We should do that anyway.
same thing.
What's the logic? If you can't see it, it can't see you, Jim.
I don't know, being in the water with it.
I was thinking if it doesn't work because if we had a situation where we were inside a steel box that it couldn't just smash through, and we had no awareness of it, like we wouldn't generate any cruelty for it to feed on, right? Like that was my kind of. I don't think it works, but I was playing around with that sort of idea. I don't think there's anything.
What are we actually trying to do when we get there?
I guess so.
What do we want out of this? Like, when we head back home, victorious and happy with our choices, what do we want to have achieved? What are we trying to do here?
I mean, isn't sort of ideally what we're doing kind of trying to get the people who know how to deal with these things the things they need to deal with, a la find the urn, give it to Thomas, be like, here's your problem solved, it's yours now.
Good luck with
Bye. Like, we don't have any way of dealing with these objects. That is the whole point of that society, that group of people, is to, like, when shit hits the fan, deal with this specific trio of objects. So, like, even if we don't trust them, it kind of feels like our goal is get urn, give to order, GTFO.
Yeah, I think that's pretty close. The only other kind of aspect I would say is that we might be able to disrupt the creatures on an individual level, not necessarily kill them, but this one that was on the boat, we sunk that boat to the bottom of the ocean. You know, if this thing is, I mean, if it's like a beach whale and it's stuck in the inlet because it can't get out, or if it's just attracted to something within the sunken ship, maybe we get rid of that, or we don't know
that thing when it got sunk didn't go elsewhere. Like we don't know that it's trapped on the boat.
The same thing.
We're hoping that by sinking a ship, we trapped it at the bottom of the ocean in a ship. There is nothing to say that that there is anything that can trap these things other than those urns and whatever ritual was done to put him in those urns, which we know is like the only. It can't be hurt. It can be trapped. That's it. That's all we got.
Can I jump in with the wizard research?
Yep.
So I got a spell, which has two uses. One, you put a symbol down, and the creature of the urn can't come within 10 feet of it, and the symbol can be this big, or it can be a bit bigger.
Boat sized.
Or you can set it. You can make it. You can activate it, and then can't come near, can't touch. Or you can draw it and then get it to stand on it, and then activate it and turn it into a bear trap.
Which is what you did in the champagne.
Riskier. That's
has worked for us before.
Has worked before.
Is that
that is what
that
we
the
did.
Implication of how they got them in the urns? They like bear trapped them and then shoved them in urns, Dave? Or
kind of.
And it's what we did on the ship. We trapped it on the ship and sank the ship.
Oh yeah, but that also kind of relies on that sigil not having been destroyed or damaged in that process.
Yeah.
Which
you'd need to speak to the Order of the Stone more to get their full story. This is like they kind of have like a long history, and it's kind of been passed down and blended into myth and like reality. That is what Bethnell is trying to look into a bit, so he might have a bit more context for you. At the moment, you're not really sure. The only other thing that you have is that based on the notes that you got from old mate Sebastian, the terms around releasing the urns seem pretty set. There's like a timing and some other bits and pieces. So that's
true.
Another basis. If you just stop the people from opening them, you definitely heavily reduce the power.
You can just bypass. Yeah. Which is obviously ideal.
I mean, as far as defense goes, I think we want to go in with one of these sigils protecting us.
Oh, on the boat for sure. Which is also very funny if we're going to then show up. The Order of the Stone is going to be there, and then we roll in with their handed down for generations protected symbol just on the boat.
I don't think we can do I don't think we can protect the whole boat. Because we can draw the sigil up to 10 feet across, and then it protects about the monster can't get within 5 feet.
You could cast it multiple times.
I don't like my odds.
Yeah.
Given that we've got, what are you rocking, like 25 sanity?
27 sanity, 40 power.
Jesus, dude.
Here's an
was
idea,
not the best
quickly.
choice. We did not
Jesus,
min-max
kid.
this party when we were deciding who's going to be the wizard.
What about one cast to get the bear trap active? We sail in, we find a harebrained scheme to trap it in that inlet. If we have any
We're
explosives,
not bear trapping. That's not the.
No,
Because we
No,
don't know
there's
it's out
two
yet.
ways. You can activate it first, in which case it can't come near it, or you can draw it, get it near, then activate it,
And that's the
then
bear
it's
trap
trapped
one.
inside.
But
Yeah.
we
We
don't
would, be
know.
options.
we would have to draw it on the boat and
Yeah.
then trap it on the boat, and I'm not
our
a
boat.
huge fan.
I was wondering
yeah.
if we could like literally have like a shark trap style situation, or like if we could trap it inside that inlet, we could potentially like I don't know use any small explosives.
Actually,
we had to
do you know
seal
what?
it.
That is not a half bad idea of how we can help. If we've got it on the boat, if we've got the symbol on the boat,
Oh, the
we
symbol.
can. Yes, we can run interference if it tries to flee from the Order of the Stone, who do actually know how to trap it.
So
or who
it
know how to
sounds like
interrupt any ritual, because we don't even know if it's out yet. We don't know that the ritual's been done. So, like, the releasing from the urn thing may
I feel
not have
like
happened yet.
maybe
And that thing in
we
the water
should...
might just be the urn releasing bad vibes, and the monster is not out yet.
How big is the inlet? Could we actually just get a symbol down on the passage it would need to use to swim out?
You mean under the water?
It's a cove.
I
no,
am
it would
stupid
not
boy.
enough of a pinch point. No, unfortunately.
No, okay.
But if we have it on the boat, we're pretty maneuverable. We can
Yeah.
literally
Yeah,
just play goalie.
Yeah.
But it can't protect the whole boat. That's what I'm worried about.
No, but we can
Yeah,
we can
but-
protect some of it. Can you put it
Well-
on a sail that we can move around?
Yeah. It can be done in
Yeah,
paint.
yeah,
The
yeah.
problem is if it gets broken, like it's just if
Yeah.
it's just done with paint and it gets smeared or the sail tears, it will be rendered
Might be
ineffective.
better off
Whereas if you like
doing
weld
it
it into the
Yeah,
hull,
smaller
it's not
and
going
permanent?
anywhere.
Or larger and temporary is kind of our option here.
Yeah.
Might be better
Either
off
way.
doing it on a dinghy or a lifeboat so that we can get closer and protect
We
the
don't
whole,
have any.
the whole lifeboat. You don't have a dinghy?
Nah,
We got
but
like a
We're too-
rowboat.
no,
we're too small.
boats not very
We're
large.
too
We could
small.
steal
We're too
one.
small. No, I think we put it on the
Sorry,
I think we
you
put
are
it on the
as-
Okay,
as this-
appreciate it. Wood is going to splinter more than metal. It
As-
is
Yeah.
better on our boat.
As
We're
discussion is
putting
being
it on the
had,
foggy seat-
there
on
are
the
tons
seascape.
of little rowboats all around, like in this hull. You could steal one so easily.
But then we are in a tiny little rowboat. I would prefer it to be on the foggy sea and for the foggy sea to be protected. And
What if we could just
remembering that
build-
we don't know that the monster's out yet. They may not have done the ritual. This may be
Oh no, yeah, it might not
this
be
may
out, but
be
I'm just
an
talking
exercise
about.
of preventing the ritual from happening.
And I
Or
think
if
the
we turn up and it's
suggestion-
happened, we can literally just play goalie.
Yeah. I
I mean,
But if it
suggestion.
happens while we're there, then we still want the protection.
Exactly. Either way.
So, we don't know what we're doing. The Order of the Stone maybe does. We've established that the Order here, not particularly nice people.
They will kill us, yes.
But they don't know how much we know. So maybe we go and talk to them, we give them back their map, we say, hey, your map actually matches what we've found, and we can confirm this is where this is happening. We would like to help. We want to join forces. We want to make sure this thing doesn't get out, because no one wants that. We've seen what it can do. We've spoken with your sister, etc., etc. Hopefully they're still on good terms. Who knows?
I don't think we
And
even
then
need
we
to,
divide
like,
and conquer. So we, as you say, Captain, we play goalie. You know, we give them an extra line of defense. Maybe some of us do that. Maybe some of us go in and assist with the prevention of the ritual. And then, if we need to get this urn somewhere quickly, well, it's generally quicker to go by
Put it on a
sea.
boat.
So we can take, you know, it might be a bit cramped, but we could take the urn and any of them, what needs to come along, get them back to wherever they need to go without, you know, being on land and being potentially, I mean, we've established that Sebastian don't have a ship no more. You know, it's at the bottom of the sea, so we're out in the sea, they're not going to get us. I think as much as we didn't get a great vibe from them, it might be worth going and having a conversation and seeing if there's any way we can work together. Because I think if we work against one another, we're all just going to end up dead.
I think the worst case scenario is we don't even need to, get any guarantees or get any certainty of cooperation. We could just say, hey, this is where the monster is. This is where the ritual's going to happen. We're going to be there at this time, And if you're there at the same time,
probably tell them that we're not
off.
quite as useless as perhaps they thought after talking to you, Gasper.
You intentionally played useless, to be fair. It was your fast talk roll. You tricked them into thinking you're useless.
If we are doing this, make sure we do it with weapons, because they've been pretty clear that if we don't leave, they will kill us. And if we show up again to speak to them, that's pretty indicative of not leaving. So my concern is that they will kill us.
Well, that's why I'm saying we just tell them we're going, because then they're like, well,
the compromise,
they will straight up kill us. I think
the compromise point might be to write something on the map and to head over, and we know we expect that they'll be there within a day. We kind of thought.
Problem is that if we just tell them, "Hey, we're going over," they don't know that we know anything. They think we're idiots, and they're going to try and stop us, which puts us at odds with each other.
If we roll up, they see us as another threat, and then everything gets split.
We need to at least get some level of, hey, we're gonna be there, please don't shank us in the throat, okay? It's
call your sister, because we could have avoided all of this conflict if you'd have just talked to her about who we are and what, that is my concern, is why do they not know? Are they just not speaking to Michelle anymore? And in which case, why? I mean, we know about
I've got her number. I could call, probably not at 11 o'clock at night, but if we're going to do this,
I feel like this is more important than an academic sleep. Is
that a phone?
You have the phone number for the Boston Order of the Stone, splinter, I believe. Unless you got something else, I'm pretty sure that's what you got.
We got Dr. Bethnal gave us the number to contact Michelle.
Yeah, that was the Boston Order of the Stone.
Okay.
But that's where and he was saying that was probably where she's staying, given they have a splinter there.
Might as well call them.
Yeah.
It might be more effective coming from her.
If we give them information that takes them a while to act on, we could potentially go and talk to the group in the house, because we actually don't have full information about what their story is. Sounds like they are the capital B bad guys, but just while we're at a sort of dancing point around that.
I feel like that's a little bit and I have a feeling that this film is definitely not out yet, but I'm using the reference anyway. That's sort of like
Spider-Man
going to talk
2.
to Scar in a cave full of hyenas.
Yep.
You might get out, but you're probably going to get eat, and you're definitely going to get sung at.
We're not sure if the Order of the Stone are going to, allow us to live through this. I really don't think the people who would like to release the horrible entity from the urn are going to be interested in a casual chat.
Yeah, well...
Right, I'm going to call the Order in Boston, because I've got their number, so at least I can see if I can get a hold of Michelle and work out what the hell is going on with her brother. And then...
Yeah, because it may mean more coming from her.
I will just just to keep spanners going, you will need to break in to the courthouse to make a call. Or there is one back at I think we established that the bed and breakfast has one. So you can head back. It's just that it's late enough that she's probably closed the doors down, because now it is probably 10:30. Yeah. Or if she's still up, she's going to be pissed.
We can do it in the morning.
Diner? Don't remember.
All these places will be locked though. It's 10:30.
Yeah.
Fishing town. Morning. We can do that in the morning. We will want to get a decent night's sleep. We don't want to be, running on fumes when we do this tomorrow, I suppose.
We
ward the ship is the other thing we will do.
Oh, sorry, the sheriff is awake. You could meet with him and just ask to place a call if he comes back. And to keep the spanners coming. Jackson, just quickly, on your spell, there's actually no sanity cost. I just checked it again. So you can just keep spending magic points on it. The problem is you have not done a successful casting of it yet, so you will need to succeed a hard power roll. But once you get that, you're away. So you could tonight try to do the first casting.
Sure. I couldn't remember the exact rules of spellcasting. That's what I should have been looking up. I imagine at some point I'm going to take a sanity loss. Am I wrong about that? I'm going to do my own research. I'm not going to ask you to make that.
You lost sanity for
do that
learning
for
the
me.
spell.
This spells have
Yeah.
costs many times. Most of the time there is a sanity hit. This particular spell does not have a sanity cost. I guess because it's
Gotcha.
it's the
like warding.
it's the ward itself. Like the creature would definitely have ones when you see it, but not for this.
Okay, great.
One last thing
well,
we
then,
wanted
I
to-
better start practicing.
Yeah,
If
let's
we-
start warding the ship.
If we don't want to speak to the police necessarily, the last thing we could do is we could set off. We could have two people set off on the Foggy Sea, stay off the coast, not get close, and the others stay at the bed and breakfast so we can place a call and then we rally somewhere.
Nope, we're in town and then we're on the ship. And where would we send the Foggy Seas to unwarded now?
Yeah, it'd just be staying overnight out in the
Look.
water, which is not sensible. So
I don't know if I can get around it without saying anything, you know. I can't lie, but the sheriff and I had a not terrible conversation earlier. I'm happy to go and see if I can use his phone, let him know there's an urgent call I need to make to the university or to somewhere in relation. He knows that we're looking into this. He knows that we were the ship that went to the SS Champagne. He's aware that something is odd and that we're interested in the case. And I intimated to him that we'd be willing to share any important information. So, if I let him know that this phone call is related to confirming something that we believe we found, maybe, you know, I might have to tell him that we found who murdered this fella, but...
This is my concern, is that if you go speak to him now... Okay, let's get the cat butt away from the mic. Yeah. If you tell him now what we know, it's going to be very challenging to avoid telling him that we know who did a murder, in which case he is going to immediately want to go and arrest these folks, in which case the Order of the Stone becomes hamstrung right before we kind of need their expertise.
Only if, you know,
Just having a scream.
there's an element of we believe that it was these people that did it. They have a headquarters over there, several miles away. That's not lying.
It's not, but it's twisting the truth, which is the same game, you know.
Well-
That would be a successful fast talk, like trying
the other
to.
big thing is that the closing of the conversation was just so suspicious from the sheriff. Like, he knew that three of us were off the ship wandering around at night, that like it could...
Yeah, but I sort of implied that it was because Gaspar might have gotten ganked by someone, like...
It was, but that's
I
still-
think he did well turning suspicion off us, but I think that like that
Yeah.
is going to muddy the waters further with the fast talk, because it would be like, yeah.
What if we leave the sheriff out of it for now? Make the call first thing in the morning.
Right.
And because Gaspar might need your help boarding the ship.
Well, in that case, I'm going to take a bit of a kip, because otherwise I'm going to be useless.
Yeah, I think we all need to get some sleep. Gaspar, if you can work on your spell this evening, and then you can catch up on some sleep in the morning, while the rest of us try and make some meaningful contact with the Order of the Stone via Michelle, looping her in as well, just so that there's some authority on our side when we do try and make helpful contact. Because let's be honest, I don't know if you'll be helpful in the helpful contact after your interaction with them. So you can catch up on some sleep then, so none of us are going in exhausted. And then we offer our services to the Order of the Stone. Luce, I think you're right. I'm hesitant to do so, but you're right. They know more than we do.
If they decline our help, then we do what we're gonna do anyway. We do our best. If they say, you know, if they're cagey about it, we do what we do anyway and try not to get in each other's way. Best case scenario, they're pro help, because, you know, great big tentacled monstrosity that no one's had to deal with for thousands of years. Like, I don't know. I'm used to just, you know, once every couple of months going in and beating the living shite out of someone for a laugh. Like, I don't do talking with people, but who knows? maybe for this time we'll be able to actually make an accord without having to beat the shit out of someone first.
Well,
I'm just fishing.
yeah. Go for it then.
Okay. Alright, so my understanding is Gaspar is going to stay awake and try and do his first casting of the spell. The rest are going to rest. If you turn all the lights off and go below deck and go to sleep, the sheriff probably won't come by unless it's urgent. Part of why he called previously was that it appeared that you were awake and willing to receive and host. There's still kind of a chance. I mean, he was just sent into an ambush, but from what you saw, it looks like they skipped down the back and they didn't see them depart. So they may have just arrived and said, there was no one here. They clearly were here. Just stay safe would probably be the message. So basically, if you just shutter everything down and be a little bit quiet. If you're out the front of it welding a giant seal, that would probably be reasonably visible. So you might just want to wait a bit to get a start on that. If you do it like 2 a.m, that's pretty good under the cover of darkness activity, I think.
Right.
Casting spells. So yeah. Jackson, just to hit you with the mechanics briefly, you are going to need to make...
Just reading.
Yeah, so it's going to be a hard power roll to do this first casting. And then any other attempt you make, whether it is immediate or in 10 days' time, counts as pushing that roll. And the effects are reasonably dire. That said, if you get it, you have the spell down, you will not need to make that roll again in future. You can just do it. So if you can get some assistance from the others and justify someone basically getting you a bonus dice on that, it might be helpful. Given this is your preparation, you do have the time to kind of go about this and do it carefully. So you might want to have a think about that.
So in the text of the spell, it does say that if you're doing the bear trap version, you can get help with the opposed power roll. So it kind of sounds like it might be reasonable if I can get help, then I might get a bonus die from the power roll as well. As long as they spend magic points.
The bear trap has a second roll later on when you activate it to actually oppose the creature that's being trapped in it. But if you just do the regular activating, you are just going to need to roll for casting.
So it talks about how to get like a bonus die on that opposed power roll if you have help. Isn't it reasonable to say that for this first, like actually learning the spell, I can get help as well?
Yeah, I basically in this one, if someone commits to working with you, and honestly the most applicable is probably Luce, aiding with like their welding ability and being able to really like double, triple check. Like Luce goes at it from a schematic angle, like, okay, I'm going to measure this all out.
I can't cast the spell, but I am
I'll make sure the runes are right. Yeah, you just worry about the wizard.
17 mechanical repair. I'm gonna say that I might not be an architect, but I can read some ship schematics.
But the main thing I need is magic points. So it costs 4 magic points to cast it, and then if we can spend additional magic points for every 6 additional magic points we spend, we can get a bonus die.
That is again for the opposing the creature one.
I'm hoping that's what I'm saying. Can we
if you want to spend
that toward the first casting as well?
Absolutely, because failing a push roll has one of my favorite effects, which is if it fails, you multiply the magic power cost. You know what? I'm not even going to get into it. We'll see it when we see it. You can invest as many magic points as you want to try and make it a little bit easier. I'm probably going to cap it at 1 bonus dice. You're not going to get a ton, but you can probably get 1 by doubling your magic point expenditure.
Oh heck! Fail the pushed roll.
He's reading it. Yeah, it's
okay. Well, I'll just not.
And there is a level here of character information too. Your character, Gaspar, you guys are all novice.
Don't know this. I don't know any of this.
All you know is that this is you would know. There's a level of like you've heard story. You know, playing with fire. This could be dangerous, but I think there's have a whirl. No one. You don't have an expert to warn you away. Yeah.
We've got a bunch of chanting, and Luce is looking at this like a mechanical schematic.
Yeah.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
And I'm trying not to look at it at all.
Okay, so Bernie and Paul, you could probably go get your bike if you wanted to and get on board. Otherwise, if you want to get some rest, I would assume Bernie and Paul and Joe crash for a bit, Luce for a short period, and then Gaspar and Luce in a couple hours, hopefully once the sheriff heads away, will attempt to do this casting. Luce, you're not going to try and speak to the sheriff and get access to the phone this evening?
Okay. No, if the captain has said, not a good idea, Luce is going to be like, no, I'm better with fire and wrenches anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to. I feel like lying to him is risky, and I don't see how we can tell him anything
Also, for the record, Luce is not someone who lies. Like, as in, I'm sure has tried, is not good at it. Is definitely someone who's like straight talking, will just not say something instead of specifically lying and let that lay as it will, and generally solves most disagreements by punching someone and then buying them a drink of whatever legal thing we're allowed to drink these days. Coffee, probably.
And I am pretty good in fast talk. It's just the risk of
I like the sheriff. I don't want him to. Yeah, he seems fine. He seems like he's doing his best, and oh boy, is that something that is hard to say about a lot of people in that level of power. So
yeah, I think he's too good for the town to drag into this in a way that may ruin his life completely. Which
all right.
I have no issues, letting him know. Maybe I don't know. It'd be good for him to catch the murderer.
You can have a discussion with him in the morning then,
Later.
assuming the ship isn't blown up in the night. So
I mean, I feel like we could really pin the murder on the people in the house pretty easy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm inclined to give him the real culprit because they did murder a dude.
They said that they did. And I believe
and possessed the knives that seem to have done it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And were at the point where the murder happened.
Again, is stabbing someone who has possibly gone off the deep end and is trying to summon
that is
hell
murder.
into the
that
world?
Is murder.
Like, murder.
No, I'm not saying it's not murder. I'm asking if it's ethically bad.
Hey,
it's still
ethically
murder.
and morally comparable.
You make that case. That's on you. All right.
It's still murder.
Let's do some wizard shit.
What I might do if we all have like a little bit of a kip and then get up around, terrible o'clock to do wizard shit, I might make a note on a map of the places that the Order of the Stones map had circled. I might just do a little bit of a copy and paste there, so that we have record of where they're of what they've circled and stuff. I want to make like a rough.
Yeah, you can just record that, and then if you want to give them their map back, that's fine. Yeah. That's brief enough that that's not going to interrupt sleep. That said, the two that are like staying up to do spell casting, this is going to be, you're going to be tired tomorrow. So you're staying up all night basically to do wizard shit. So.
I mean, I was hoping to get some level of sleep between.
Welding a 3-meter star onto the front of the ship is going to take you a good chunk of the night, especially under the cover of darkness.
You guys might want to sleep in the morning, and we can go talk to the.
Yeah. What were you saying, Jim?
The Order of the Stone.
I was going to say I have mechanical repair too. Maybe I could relieve Luce for a little bit just so that they have a chance to sleep. But I think it's just that.
It's fine. I'll if the plan is to do a bunch more talking in the morning, then I might excuse myself from that process.
Okay.
And get some sleep then. And just, not be there if an axe needs to be axed.
All right. So,
here's what I'm wondering. Should we, for the first casting, should we just like draw it? And then we know it works? Because I'm wondering if we make the sigil out of metal, and then the first casting fails. Is that failed casting because we got the sigil wrong?
I think this is a discussion you and Luce could be genuinely having. This is kind of going beyond your... I think before we commit to... I think if I get it once, then I'll know that the sigil is right, rather than spending a lot of time on making the sigil out of metal. I just want to draw it first, and then we can see if it works. I will say, Luce doing the sigil properly is what's helping you and getting you a bonus dice on this. So you would be making a straight roll if you just want to try a quick sketch on a piece of paper and shoot from the hip.
I mean, if I can get some of Luce's magic points, that's where the bonus die comes from.
Well, I can't give you magic points if I'm not actually part of the thing. If you're just scratching on a piece of paper.
But that's what I mean. Let's do it together. Let's do a big painty job, and then once we know we can do it right, then we can make it out of metal.
Have you seen these meaty hands? I'm not my mitts are for welding and hammering on a boiler. I'm not fine painting. I ain't a drawer or an artist.
Yep. I'm slowing things down. Let's just do it.
It's Paul's time to shine, baby.
I mean, that's not far off.
Paul's been to 3 paint and sip events. He knows what he's doing.
Also, for the record, Luce is an artist, specifically because welding falls under art and craft.
And that's what we're
great.
rolling. Okay. Do you want to do that? Do you want to go whole hog or?
I'm gonna need
I also
the
don't know
magic
if
points.
I can give magic points if I'm not part of the.
It just says
like,
any helper may spend. Are you a
Which
helper?
again is for the trapping thing, not for the. It is a separate thing. But so here's how it's going to
but
work.
That's what I was wondering. Can we just
No.
paste that over?
We're going to sort of do this, right? So you are
Okay.
you are investing more magic into this in an attempt to basically stabilize forces. Gaspar is having a crack at doing it on the fly. So if Luce succeeds on a welding roll, you will get a bonus dice.
Gotcha.
You have set this
Now
into
I'm
a
across
very
it.
solid thing. You know the runes are right. You just need to focus on the power. You will then make a roll. It's a hard power roll with a bonus dice. However, you can push more into this, doubling the magic power cost for this one because this spell does have a means by which it can accept more, and you will take a second bonus dice. However,
Okay.
that is the limit of it, and if this still fails, we are
Gotcha.
going into
Now I
pushing the roll
understand.
territory. Yeah.
Alrighty. Great. You don't mind that I've only got 8 magic points.
No, I think it's
10.
cool. I think it's great.
Fantastic.
Don't worry, there's rules in the book for what happens if you try and spend magic points you don't have, and they're good. So we'll just get to that when we get to that, don't you worry.
The long corridor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't we have that happen? Didn't we have someone's head explode?
Not to Gaspar.
Oh, that's true. Sorry, we the players, not we the characters.
We
I
the
should've- I
people.
should've-
Okay.
We the people.
All right.
All right. Well,
let's set the scene and let's get into some
don't-
wizard nonsense.
I want it on record to say that whether this is the last, whether we can. This may be the point in the scenario where I burn some luck, so you better bloody hope I roll well enough, because there is a limit to the amount that I can spend.
So before we do rolls, the crew wrap up their conversation. Having drawn their conclusions and made their plans, Paul and Bernie return to their own quarters. Below deck, the ship is very cramped, and it's really just sheets drawn across spaces. Paul tosses and turns for a bit before going to sleep, while Bernie pointedly copies out each note on the Order of the Stone's map across to a copy of her own, a huge tome of plastic laminated charts of all the bays and areas with your own notes that have already been scrawled on it over years and years of sailing this region. I'll remind you that you got the impression that the
book's
cultists
about to get spooky.
yeah, now we're adding cult locations. You are reminded that the cultists, you probably expect the Order of the Stone, that is, will head to Barnes's place tomorrow afternoon or evening, sometime around then. After doing that, you close the chart and head to bed yourself, finding sleep. Luce and Gaspar stay up for a time. Luce trying to get some rest as you can hear the ticking of the clock's hands going nearby as night draws on. And soon, at 1 a.m., you rise again and head up above deck. It's colder now. A wind is coming in across the ocean, and it's carrying with it salt and the spray of further waters. There's no sign of the sheriff, and the town seems completely silent. Luce heads to a stowed locker and retrieves from it her welding equipment. This is going to be loud if anyone else was sleeping in the harbor, but actually because the only other ship that regularly berths here, the Sea's Gifts, is away, no one should really hear it. There will be bright sparks and things coming from it as well, but that too shouldn't be too noticeable. It's late enough that you should be able to do this unseen. A couple of lights are turned on and then dimmed down to their lowest settings, just enough so that you can see your work, and you begin to sketch out this large 3-meter rune. The measurements are very precise in the book. It has specific symbols and they all have odd shapes. It's hard to try and you keep on wanting to turn this one into an S or an ampersand, but it's not quite, and it's your sort of practiced mind that keeps them in their strange and true runes. Gaspar remains below deck, going over the scroll again and again and again, like one of your children's the storybooks you used to read, so well loved and thumbed that you know every passage by heart. But after a time, it's time to act. The first roll we're going to make is loose. Can you please give us an art craft welding roll? And this is going to be a straight roll.
Oof.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
You're always walking around with 39 luck in your pocket, aren't you?
Oh, it's 39?
Yeah.
Wait, we're fine.
Are you burning
Really?
39 points of luck here?
I mean, I could push it, I guess.
You could push it.
Uh-oh.
I can definitely see a case for pushing. If you push this roll, you are confident. You'll be confident in the thing, and we are actually going to remove that bonus dice. Gaspar will be making a straight roll, even with the expenditure of extra magic points. Effectively, you're applying a penalty dice to it. If this still fails.
I think that's what I'm going to leave up to Jackson then.
Heck you.
That's I mean, like, I'm happy to push it. I'm happy to spend the luck. I'm happy to leave it as a failure and not and essentially be like, it's close enough, but it's not enough to help.
And Art, just so we don't actually, if you end up pushing this, I'm gonna have you whisper message me the D10. We're gonna keep that as a little reveal to happen.
Oh, you mean the D100?
Yeah. The second roll, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, I'm not that confident I'll be able to pull this off.
It's hard.
all.
It's really difficult.
I
think ultimately
and,
this
the bonus die from this will help, but might still not be enough anyway. But then do I turn my nose up at it, at the bonus die?
Yeah.
But then if I'm taking it, then it's like 39 points of luck from Art. I don't want to do that to Art, my friend.
I think, Art, this has to kind of come down to you here. From Luce's context, I think from below deck, you can hear Gaspar in like SAT study prep mode. Like, he's going through, he is genuinely trying his absolute hardest to comprehend something unknowable. He needs all the help he can get, and as you step away and looking at your work, you're just not sure if it's good enough. You're going to need to make some changes. If you let this failure lie, Gaspar will go ahead and just this won't assist. If you succeed it, he will get a bonus dice. If you push it and fail, he will get a penalty dice on his roll.
And like having the bonus die is what puts it in the realm of possibility, but not certainty.
Luce, for all Luce thinks Gaspar is a idiot child at times, she doesn't want to see him get hurt. And she wants the boat and the captain, crew, to be as best protected as possible. So, I am not going to tell you how much luck I have left, because I think that's funnier. So, Dave, if you're okay, I'm just going to put 0 on my luck,
sure,
and I will keep a record of it, because I think that's fun.
All good.
But I will spend the luck.
Okay.
Oh.
All
right.
Luce snaps back down the welding helmet, and through that darkness, all you can see are the sparks as they trace runes into the hull of the foggy sea. After a time, the call is out, and Gaspar, it's time to act.
Luce looks very tired. Like has that. It is 1 o'clock in the morning. Tired. This looks like Luce has like gone hyper focus and is like a bit like, you come out and you're like, is it ready? And Luce is like, yeah, it'll be fine, and just kind of like wanders off a little, like a little spacey. They have put huge amount of energy into getting this right.
All right.
That's
good to know.
As you see,
and probably like goes below deck and just face plants. That is Luce's work done.
This is going to be Gaspar from here. Gaspar, as you come up above deck, you see that the boarding has all been removed painstakingly, and given Luce is not one to waste materials, stacked to the side so that in future they can be placed back down. This has exposed the metal hull, the thin sheet that runs across the bow. And you can see in it this painstakingly carved and very accurate seal drawn into it. And Luce has even gone so far as to like clear dust out of the way, like run a broom across it several times. There is nothing here to disrupt your focus, and you sort of hold up the paper across it and it perfectly matches the symbol. Now it's just for you to speak the words and invest your own power into it.
Good. Okay. And you're telling me that by spending double the magic points, I can have a bonus die.
So you will get 2 bonus die on this roll. And I'll also ask you to kind of set the scene for Gaspar attempting to do this.
Great. So there's some words. I'll spend like way too long looking over the sigil, looking down at the scroll, looking up at the sigil, having every confidence in Luce's ability. But this is magic. This is a spell. Not much confidence that, you know, Gaspar's a wizard. That's a bit silly. Like, on one level, he's fooled himself into thinking he can do this, and then another level, he has not. So, just spends way too long looking at it, looking back at the thing, reading the same thing, reading the same passages over and over, and then realizing like half an hour has passed. He hasn't actually done anything.
Oh, can I add?
Yeah.
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 Actually, maybe I'll. Do you want a nice thing now or a nice thing if you succeed / fail?
I'll have a nice thing if I'm dead. You can have this first eulogy at the funeral. All right, so that's done. I've read the scroll over 1,200 times.
I think also, like, as you're going through this, and yeah, there is that doubt in your own ability to control these forces. Bernie's drilled it into your head that a ship can't control the sea, it has to roll with it. And this is you not only accepting otherworldly forces, accepting that they are real, but saying that you can be a master over them. What this thing purports to be is a cosmic being of strength so great it can tear through dimensions and rend the mortal plane apart. And Gaspar Green, to successfully cast this spell, has to have the confidence to say that he can stop it.
Ah.
Well, that's it. But then, yeah, I guess the next thought is, well, this is what I can do. I've been looking for a role on the ship, you know, and everyone else knows how to keep the boat together and get it to do its job and get it from A to B. And, you know, Bernie sees the big picture and keeps everyone safe, and Paul carries it out, and Luce is literally keeping the ship together. And yeah, if this is the one thing I can do, then I should do it.
Should do it. Okay.
That wasn't very eloquent.
No. I absolutely hear it. I think that's great. Gaspar puts down the paper. The words are burned into your mind. There's no risk of you forgetting them. Holds out his hands, splays them before it. And with eyes open, looking at the runes and almost picturing the hot red glow of when they were only recently welded, you begin to chant. You are going to make a hard power roll with 2 bonus dice. You are going to spend 8 magic points to do this. Regardless of outcome, those 8 magic points are gone.
Alrighty.
I'm going to go ahead and make your first roll.
First roll.
All right. Go ahead and
What?
give 2 more. Let's see if we get an extreme, I suppose.
What?
There's the confidence. That's amazing.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Well, heck.
There we go.
All right. I'm sorry. I just took all of your luck for nothing, apparently.
No,
The power was in me the whole time. I am a wizard, and I'm going to save everyone. Good God. That was not where
Oh
I was
my
expecting
God.
this to go at all.
I want to add then as
We
like,
love the dice.
Dave, just because I don't want to ruin any of your descriptions, does
No,
the
go.
sigil like light up a little bit and glow a little bit? If it lights up kind of like, you know how you see in like video games or movies and stuff, you start and it like ripples out along the lines and lights up. At the very, very top, you see like in almost like a slightly, not as nice as cursive, but a cursive script, it does say Green and McAllister, like an artist's signature next to
lovely.
these 2
Love
things.
that. Love it.
That is where the luck went. I'm arguing.
That's
Good God.
I love it.
Now,
Gaspar.
Dave, what can I get for an extreme success?
Nothing. You successfully cast a spell.
Okay.
Congratulations. Hands splayed across it. You chant the words, and you feel a swelling confidence coming from within you, unstoppable, like the tides you ride. It begins to wash over you and flow out into this masterwork done by Luce and locked into the ship that you and your companions call home and work. It begins to pulse through it, and the runes light in brilliant red and begin to like pulse in waves as you know that this will work. This alone can stop that creature that would pierce veils and render your minds back to their base state, pull your flesh apart and turn you back to mulch and ash. But this alone, by your power, will stop it. When you stand back, you are lightheaded, and the warmth from the seal, though faded, is matched by that of the rising sun. The ship is protected, and by your own power, so too are your friends. You've given it everything, but you have come out successful. You will no longer need to make a hard power roll to cast Ward against Agran Talon Tasoth. You can just do it by expending the magic points required and the time taken to craft the seal. Your magic points regenerate reasonably slowly. It'll be about 1 an hour. So if you want to do it again,
slow.
Yeah, true. Actually, it's actually pretty quick. You basically need to. If you go to bed, you could do it again later. Basically.
Want to see me do it again?
Yeah, watch this.
I mean, right.
I mean, whether or not I can create another sigil.
That's the thing.
Well, but now, I mean, that was the welding part. Now he can, if we need it on temporary things.
Dave,
like,
are you hand waving what you said before about the boat being protected, or are we sticking to the letter of the law, which is
it's a 3-foot window around it or whatever.
5 foot around it, yeah.
It's you basically. I'm saying you protected the whole front of it. It could possibly be assailed from the back, so you could do this again for the rear, and then I would say you've got the whole thing covered. But for the moment, just point the boat at the monster, and it can't really get to it. I'll also say that this covers the door that leads below deck. So for something to breach, it would need to go through the hull or break through a porthole or something like that. So you have this is a pretty significant impasse.
I'll probably do it again on the back, maybe not with metal, but at some point once I've had a rest and got some magic points left, I might draw it on the back as well.
I'm assuming Dave, forgive me here, but like if Jackson or if Gaspar can cast the spell without too much issue, is it reasonable now that Luce can recreate that ward with enough time 100%, without 100%. Any issue? So like
the two of you spend a day, you can punch it down.
Like obviously if we needed to do it in a hurry, rolls would be required, but if like we've got time to do it, then if that seems reasonable to you, Dave, I'd like
more than reasonable. Absolutely.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, we can get the whole boat protected.
Awesome.
I mean, Luce is definitely going to be sleeping until probably like early afternoon at this point. Yeah. You're gonna have to. Gaspar probably does know that Luce truly only functions via coffee and spite in the mornings. And at this point, early afternoon is morning. I suspect Gaspar would have to come and bring gifts of coffee to get Luce out of like the bunk to do it again, because they are tired and do not know it's worked yet.
Luce, come see what I made.
Check it out.
Good.
I think this is the point where Paul and Bernie are getting up.
I think
and
you guys
see like we probably would have woken up when it worked.
I think you woke up with as you're very used to waking up with the sun. So as there's a little flare of light outside the window, both of you stir outside your portal, and then when you look up, the sun's not up yet, but you can begin to see it rising. And as you come up above deck, the two of you join Gaspar for a moment as he's looking over his work, certain that it has succeeded.
I guess you're not the cabin boy anymore, hey? Ship's wizard. Slap him on the shoulder.
Okay.
You still have to swab the deck.
Yeah, that's okay. I could do it again on the back, or I could do it in the sides. Maybe I can do it in some clothes. We put it in the sails.
I think right now you sleep though.
Okay.
You get some sleep. You and Luce, it's captain's orders. You and Luce are not to get back out of bed again until you feel good and rested and hale and hearty, because yes, it would be great to protect the back of the ship before we go into this. It would also be great to have both of you fighting fit for whatever comes next.
There is a rattling sound almost as loud as like the boiler getting like the bolts going, which is Lou snoring.
The ship shakes.
Yeah. That's why we were able to sleep in the same room in the bed and breakfast, because we both snore with the same degree of ferocity.
It's a harmony. It like matches.
Really, Luce tends to not sleep too deeply, so I don't think Luce snores like as a matter of fact, like is usually like half an ear open. But when they are asleep, nah, all bets are off.
It's the soda car scene from June. Just the
Yep, basically.
Sound so good. Love throat singing. Okay.
Alright, Paul.
Luce and Gaspar head below deck and sleep. Joe is also pretty tired from nights and bits pieces, so he will stay here and continue his role of sleep/keep watch. So he will let you know if anything happens. Paul and Bernie, as you head down, you are the only people here. It's like 6 a.m. It's first crow, so you can arrive wherever you want, like as they open. You'll also note that the Seas Gifts has not yet returned. You can just make it out in the distance. You're pretty sure you can see a little speck where it is still moored out in the bay.
And it doesn't seem to be moving, so.
Well, we should pay up at the boarding house just to make sure that we're cleared there. We don't want vengeance in the form of an old woman coming out of us.
We can also use her phone.
Yep.
Phone, settle our account. I'll call Michelle. I mean, her brother's out in the woods, so not sure how she'd get a message to them, but maybe there's a code word she can give us or something that proves our relationship.
Or at the very least, she can tell us run if it's like that, but you know.
Well, yes. If there is something we should know and a reason why. She hasn't communicated our involvement with her.
Great. Well, let's head up.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
Are you both going together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You walk through town, still quiet, and as you ride the bed and breakfast, Gail Armand is probably one of the earliest risers in the town, so it's already
as much.
Open. She'll say, "Oh, I noticed you didn't come in last night."
No, we elected to spend an evening on the ship just to. It's funny. You sleep somewhere for 20, 30 years of your life, and it's unsettling to sleep anywhere else. I think I just needed a night back on the old girl.
Will you be here tonight? I don't want to stay up again, if it's...
No, we won't be here this evening. So we've actually come to settle our accounts and
okay.
Get out of your hair.
Well, there is a small fee for the breakfast, even if if you're here, you're welcome to it for this morning. She goes to the numbers and things, and you can square it away.
Yeah.
It's perfectly within your means.
Nominal.
It is a regular ass bed and breakfast price. Yeah.
Make a phone call to Michelle. Would we be able to use your phone?
Oh.
Also, and I'll pull out a little bit more of the old green. It is a call to it is a call to Boston. So here you go, and I'll just give her plenty, plenty, not an insultingly large amount, but like a enough and then some. Enough a reasonable tip and then some.
Perfect.
You
Yeah.
don't hit the first button on the tip selector.
The long distance call to Boston. It's
Exactly.
it's going to cost a bit. We
It's
don't
a
want it to be out of
$20.
pocket.
I don't think it should be.
It's the
You're in
same
the same
state.
state. I think it shouldn't be that bad. You're just
It
not
won't be too
calling
bad.
within the town.
Everything's a long distance call
Yeah.
in the 1920s.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't know how phones work in the 1920s.
There's
No
something
idea.
with a wire
Switchboard.
running,
There's
right?
Given how the phones worked in the goddamn 90s, wouldn't surprise me that there was a long distance charge attached.
Yeah.
There's a switchboard. There'll be so it'll be like 20% tip, and then a little extra on the side. It'll be like.
Yeah.
We know that we've been an annoyance. Hopefully this is our annoyance fee.
Yep. You can also have a bite and stuff. So by the time you're calling, it's got a 7 in front of it rather than a 6. Just to scrape
Ivan
that.
Bracky.
Yeah, perfect. You sit down in a comfortable chair. A phone is nearby, and Gail probably close enough that she's half listening, because that's neat. Actually, Paul, if you wanted to play run
I'll
interference. You could
play
probably
large,
scoot her out of the
charming
way.
interference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Run interference for me.
Do you want to give me a do you want to give me a charm roll, Paul? I have a little something
Absolutely.
if it comes up.
I crack my knuckles and I go, no, Gal, I was just looking at your garden and it is awful.
Awful.
I
It
hate
sucks.
It sucks. Whiff. Not a fumble because over 50 or 50? I always forget that.
50, I
exactly.
think, it's 50, so it is not a fumble. Ever so slightly. Yeah, you insult her, but get her attention. So she is distracted. But yeah, you're probably not going to want to stay here.
Here. Yeah.
Bernie, you place the call, and the phone rings a few times, and then is answered by a fairly snooty, sort of butlery voice. Says, "Morning."
Good morning. It's Bernie Green for Michelle.
Do you have an appointment? It's very early.
It's a phone call.
I'll see if she's up. You hear the
Bernie
thing.
Green, Foggy Seas.
You hear footsteps receding. And after a short time, he said, "She's just getting ready. Be with you in a moment. If you would mind waiting."
Thank you.
Goes back down.
This is hilarious. It's like the butler doesn't quite know the phone etiquette, so he's just
Because
like,
well, they're fairly new technology.
do you have an appointment?
There is someone at the door.
Can you,
Phone.
Can
Fuck.
you wait here? Would you like a cup of tea?
Can I take your coat?
Did this come up on stream, or is this something that my dad sent me? I don't remember. But there was a full-on etiquette guidebook on here is how you talk to someone on the phone, because no one when it first came out, no one understood the etiquette
What the point
of
is,
phone
yeah,
calls.
how
The
to-
fact that you pick up a phone and say hello is a thing that people
and they had
didn't
to
have.
they had to decide what the word would be, because
Yeah.
hello wasn't even a
Hello.
common greeting. You would say good day, good afternoon, good
Yeah.
evening,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
hello was like a
And in the
hey, here's
guidebook,
some
it's
attention.
make sure that when you're on the phone, you're wearing pants. It's just such a bizarre set of it was full on an etiquette.
Yeah.
It wasn't just how to talk on the phone. It was etiquette for using a phone.
They
Yeah,
still
'cause it's a brand new technology.
they
and
still-
this guy's just
There's the Queen's etiquette book or something. It's published in England. I believe it's still updated. So I think it has the latest and greatest of pro things how to handle yourself in a Twitter argument, and how one
Don't.
on a Zoom call.
yeah how to soft block someone, things like that.
I don't know Japanese well enough, but from what I understand, the mushi mushi or something like that. I
Mushi
can't pronounce
Mushi
it,
mushi,
is
yeah.
the
It's only for
greeting
phones.
phone, and I guess it's hello would have been that, and it has become
Cool.
That's it.
most common.
That's
Mhm.
exactly it.
Yeah.
And you
But
do
of
not
course-
say it in any other circumstance.
There are a couple of other drafts, alternatives to hello. Alexander Graham Bell was preferred ahoy hoy.
So
Oh
funny.
yeah.
Ahoy hoy. Which is
Ahoy
why
hoy.
that's what Mr. Burns says in The Simpsons whenever he picks up the phone. Ahoy hoy.
I also will throw in with Alexander Graham Bell. I think that is the superior.
I think he's right.
I
He's
think
right
he,
to say
I think
it.
he got that
Ahoy,
one.
hoy.
Ahoy hoy. Hello there. After a moment, you hear the phone picked back up again, and although there's a bit of a delay along the line, you hear clear enough. Captain Green.
Hi, I'm in what's this town again?
Greyport.
Greyport.
Greyport. Oh, so close.
I am in Greyport, and so is apparently your brother.
You will have heard of Mr. Torres's death then.
Yes.
Listen. I understand you're still looking into Dr. Sebastian.
Correct.
Regrettable as it is, needs must. My brother, have you had contact with him? He's in the area.
After a fashion, we've had contact with him. Not really a friendly bloke. What
Listen.
would be the best way for us to convince him that we know enough to be helpful, and pretty please don't murder us?
You're still looking to help?
We can, and having seen the impact this thing can have, we would feel terrible if we just cut and run at this point. Unfortunately, as much as I'd like to, for the sake of my crew, my ship, my future, everyone's future, I would love to cut and run. Humanity demands otherwise.
Can you make a probably persuade or charm roll for me?
while you're rolling, you said murder, and I think it's that like I was stopping to listen a little bit. Murder comes out, and he just has to go, Gale, you're a bad gardener.
Oh my god. Okay.
Persuasive. It's the flat nihilism in my voice. It is the resignation, the tone of I really don't want to do this, but we have to.
Absolutely.
D10.
Yeah, because wow, there's been so many crits this campaign. This has been a green campaign. We've had red ones. This has been a pretty green one, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of good rolls on pretty. Like, even Jackson's so hard.
We've had some red where it counted.
Well, make that an even 55. It's way nicer to look at.
Still, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. She does try to tell you to step away, kind of for your own good. She says that her brother's handling it.
Really?
You also get the impression from that he's not been given the only task. There's other things happening. She's treating this with priority, and she is currently looking into the urns further. Ultimately she says, okay, I appreciate that. I am grateful for it. I will help you to get in contact with him. I don't have we can't get, they are out of contact, but I can help to ease that. I'll tell you what to say. Before that, you should know, I am looking into a means to reseal the creature. It's a spell, but it's old and it's only half understood. I'm needing to get sections of it sent to me back from Dublin, and I'm slowly putting it back together, but I believe we may have the means to reseal this thing. Additionally, what alerted us to that area, one of the members of Dr. Sebastian's team, a Terrence Baker, we believe he can be turned. He's spoken to his wife recently, and regrettably, about how actions have gone, and we got in touch with her. The whole thing was rather roundabout, and we haven't had direct contact with him, but we intend to try and set that up through his wife. If we can do that, we have a man on the inside. Understand, with Torres dead, that's one down. Dr. Sebastian only has 2 more helping him, a Mickey Spill and Terrence Baker. If we can swap Terrence Baker, it's just the one. And Lucas Barnes as well. Actually, sorry, no, I need to rec on that. They haven't narrowed down to which one that he's staying at, but they know that he must have gotten off the ship somehow, so possibly whoever helped him. We do have means. I'm actually meeting with Mr. Baker's wife this evening, hoping to try and set up a long-running communication, or try and talk with them if they take a break, or if he ever comes home.
Right. Well, that may be too late. The correct location, your brother and his pals have identified it. I've seen their plans, and they're intending to go to the correct location this evening or this afternoon.
Good. Okay, well, if they can capture Sebastian and the rest, prevent any of the urns being opened, and we can try and reseal those that have already escaped.
Oh, we watered the boat.
You did? Well done. And you can seem genuine impressed. That's not an easy spell.
Yes, well, I have some very talented people on my crew.
Listen, I appreciate your help. I really do. And there's not enough people in the world willing to act. Even myself and my brother, until recently, this was just a game. This wasn't a true thing. It was only when I was aboard the ship that I saw the realness of this situation, the realness of the spells and the scrolls that we've held. Tobias hasn't had that yet. This is still a game to some degree. Now, granted, it's a serious one, but he hasn't come face to face with the mythos. He hasn't felt Agran's fear. He doesn't know what's out there. You and your crew, you do.
Yes, well, that's just it, isn't it? I don't want to be involved in this. All of us would have rathered to just continue on our merry little lives at sea, but unfortunately our first encounter with any of this stuff was a meat grinder. So it's kind of hard to not get involved.
Listen, tell him Missy wants you to help. He'll understand what that means, and that should get you through the conversation. He wants to lead this. This is him trying to prove himself. Handle that how you will. I'm not going to give you authority over him or anything. I can't do it if I wanted to. But you should understand his objective too in this, because if it should be yours. He aims to kill them. All of them. Dr. Sebastian, Mickey Spill, the whole lot. They cannot be allowed to know what they know. We are to retrieve the urns, kill those that came into contact with them, and prevent the rest of this from unfolding. It is the only way. They have been poisoned. They are not the people we knew. There is no solution. Genies and bottles.
That's neither here nor there for me. That's your brother's sole problem to deal with.
I'll ask that you don't get in his way. Captain Green, these people killed an entire ship.
I know they did. I can't speak for the rest of my team. I can give them orders of what our goal is, but I'm not here to direct their moral compass and the actions they take as such. They're their own individuals. From my end, I'm not about to get in the middle of a firefight. I'm not about to human shield myself for a bunch of mass murderers who want this creature to be free to do what they did on the SS Champagne in cities and to the population at large. I'm not going to go out of my way to protect them, but I cannot speak for the actions of my crew.
I understand.
They understand the stakes. We all do.
And in the same way, I cannot wholly speak for my own. These people here, God, if I thought we were pissing about this Boston they just drink and shoot. It's all like they've got they've forgotten anything that began this chapter. I admit it was little but a frame back home, but here listen, Tobias at least understands the importance of this. The people with him, there's little control. They're being pointed towards something. Last, I'll give you one more thing. Tobias has a second portion of the scroll, the one that you helped me to recover on the champagne. It's in his personage because there's a spell within it that he's been attempting to master. It's a little hairier than the one you've gotten, but if you've got someone who's actually successfully cast a spell, you're further along than he is.
I'm sure he'll love hearing that.
Well, I'd advise you don't frame it that way, but listen, he's my brother. I love him. Play to his ego. Let him be in charge. Do what you need to do. I think it'll work out.
Noted.
I'm sorry you're in this, but I'm glad to hear you're on side.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this wraps something up with a little bit less carnage than last time.
When this is done, come and see me.
Of course.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Captain.
Right. Just hangs up.
You hear it's handed back to the butler for a moment, and you just click it. Okay. Nicely done.
Dave.
Yeah.
I know I'm not there, but I assume I will get the gist of this conversation at some point. Was the implication that they were going to kill everyone, or that they were going to kill the people who were unshakable, and maybe Terrence Baker is someone that might not?
Yeah, you're
unclear.
Pretty unclear, I would say.
It looks like they're trying to turn one guy, but whether or not
a lot of that, they cannot be saved. They're not the people we knew, kind of.
I mean, you saw with Tobias, he's killed one already, and he was reasonably happy to threaten Gaspar and take him hostage. These two, at least, the siblings, seem to have a real needs must. They will do what needs to be done, and you probably get the feeling that if it comes down to it and you're standing in the way, you won't stop them either. They are going to do what they believe needs to be done here, to whatever ends necessary. Possibly you can convince them, and if you can show that Terrence Baker isn't a threat, and he is committed to an asylum, and he is getting the help he needs and all these other things, and taken off the field and under your responsibility, they're reasonable. They've been spoken to. You have rolled very well, particularly with Michelle. a few times, I believe. I think even on the SS Champagne, especially through your actions. She has the utmost faith in your capacity and also your dedication. And to see you here again and to, hear the captain reporting in is very much in your corner. Tobias less so.
Yeah, he doesn't know us from beans.
No.
Also doesn't know the mythos from beans apparently, but
he's read the books.
Yeah, he understands the theory, but it's kind of like
I think he only watched the movies.
Yeah, he watched the movies. I don't think he's seen them. Yeah.
Read the
Well, I feel like watching
guy.
a movie would actually be more helpful. Like if you read about demolitions and an explosion in a book, that does not give you an idea of what it's like to stand next to one. A movie is better, but
movie
it ain't.
Plus Wikipedia summary. Let's give him that.
He has not witnessed the paste.
Yeah. Paul and
he
Bernie.
hasn't felt the rumble.
Yeah.
Paul and Bernie, you probably want to let them rest for another couple hours. If there's anything you'd like to do in town, we can do it. We can handle it.
Pick up some dynamite.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Dynamite it is. Paul?
I might head back to the Hall of Records, just try and tidy up a bit of research, even get a plan of the exact property for Barnes, like an actual map of the spot.
Okay, yeah, good idea. All right. Okay, the two of you split off.
Sorry, Alex, I'm not sure if because I know we knew where they were going. Was the implication that we confirmed with Michelle, like we know who the other person is, or was that off the table?
Other person.
You said you knew where
Michelle
where it was.
knew the two people that Sebastian had, but didn't know the third person who was the person that they were staying with, like the house that they were at.
Oh yeah.
And
if we'd known that, we would have told her that. Yeah,
oh, did you? Yeah,
so
you would have said
we
that
would
point.
have just said, oh, well, we know. Yeah.
It's Lucas Barnes. We're going to the That's fine. Okay.
Lucas Barnes' place. Yeah.
Yep. I just needed to clarify. Actually, they didn't know, and that wasn't me trying to hide information.
Yeah.
I just misspoke.
No, but we knew, so they absolutely would have shared that.
Cool.
And then I suppose it's then we go and talk to Tobias. It would be good to catch him before they head out, because ideally we go at it from the seas and they take a land approach.
They do it you got their schedule. They in the morning send 2 parties out, 2 teams of 2, and they check 2 areas, come back. Afternoon, they rotate slightly, so a different person stays back, and they do 2 more. So they're hitting 4 places a day. The morning one will probably have already left by the time you go. You could catch them all around lunch, or you could try and just speak to the individual that's there in the morning. You would be able to arrive there in time, assuming no holdups.
I think we talk to them all at once, because we don't know if Tobias has gone out with one of the teams, and he's the one that we want to speak to.
Yeah.
And depending on what, I know that they were planning on hitting Lucas Barnes' place today, but if they were planning to do it in the afternoon, we could save them some time by being like, hey, it's this place. You were planning to go there anyway, but FYI, we checked it out, and there's spooky shit under the water.
Don't send 2 teams of 2. Send 1 team of 4. Thank you.
/5. Send everyone.
Send everybody. Pack your shit. Send everybody, and we'll be there from the seas. That I think, that's probably the.
Yep. Okay. All right. So Paul to the Hall of Records, Paul to the Hall, and Bernie to the can't make that rhyme with grocery store, general store.
Bernie Green, the dynamite queen.
Use that. Write that down. That's good. Bernie, you head to the general store. Opening up, it is quite large. It services this whole town. The gentleman that runs it is Mark Holbringer. He's a sort of middle-aged man, large beard, apron, all the stuff. He basically will just let you scan. You are the first person in here. You can just search yourself. You will not find dynamite on the shelves. He has a small back section behind him, which has some firearms for you get hobby hunting. As you're in here, you think they probably don't have dynamite. Unfortunately, you'd need to go to a. You were kind of hoping, maybe there's there's a mining thing that would use it, but doesn't seem to be so, at least. You could ask about it.
Tools and equipment. Yeah. May as well ask. Worth asking.
Okay.
Somewhere I can get some blasting equipment.
May I ask what for?
What blasting? Not around here. Not in this area. No. Occasionally, when we're out at sea, we come across wrecks that are disruptive in the way, get tangled in our nets and in our crab bots.
I didn't know that was a common.
Oh, it's not common. It requires specialist skills, which we have.
I see.
Deeply uncommon.
I'd need to place an order in for you.
Don't worry about it.
What was your name? Sorry?
Captain Green.
Right. You in town for long?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll...
Just something we noticed we were out of. And then I'll pop like a couple of cans of sardines on the counter.
Pack of chips.
Yeah, basically.
Slim Jim. He rings those up. You get it, like, they have a whole, like, outsiders coming through and murdering folks. As you're doing this, you are treated like... He pays it. He's so suspicious. This dude's probably, like, first break he gets, gonna nip over to the sheriffs and just let him know that someone just came in asking for dynamite.
Yeah, and say it's Captain Green and be like, yeah, those guys are weird.
Yeah.
Like, we're on okay terms with the sheriff. He knows we're a little weird. It's fine.
Yeah. You can.
Sheriff might come over and be like, "Why are you asking for dynamite?" But also not going to be like, "You're going to murder people."
Yeah. Like, okay.
We'll take it. Okay. If nothing else, you can get those and head to over to meet Paul once she's finished. All right. Touch base with Paul briefly. You get towards the courthouse and
I've lied to you. I'm not planning to do research. I'm here to talk to Alice.
This is an illusion.
This is the last time we may get to speak before we drift off. And I'm not bad boy enough to like go and like hook up with people, but I think I leave a deep and meaningful conversation and some like a real emotional connection at every port.
It's like, it's not quite having a wife at every port, but it's one that could be.
No,
it's one that could be, man.
We really understand each other and
close
feel like
friends,
we can be vulnerable together.
A dog, you just make correction everywhere, man.
Friend, but it's cooler, and I guess.
I understand that we are playing a game set on the sea in a fishing boat, but I don't know that we need to encourage more ships.
Very good.
Heading there. One thing, Paul, is you will see the sheriff and deputy present. And unless if you avoid them is one thing, but they would be interested in a conversation at least.
I don't avoid them if they. But yeah.
They will speak to you then. The sheriff hasn't gotten the opportunity to meet you yet, but says that they met with Luce and heard about the cannery. He's going to just say no one was there, but there was clearly signs of folks that were. And the Sea's Gifts has headed out to sea. It'd probably be best if you and your crew move along. I understand this ain't an order or anything, but I can't promise that Lyndon's going to be reasonable about this. And truth told, he just wants you out of town, so if you've gotten what you came for, might be best to keep moving.
I understand. We've already settled up at the bed and breakfast where we're putting on our coat. We'll be out the door soon.
Okay. Anything else comes up, I'd appreciate you getting in contact with me. And we have your information otherwise. You guys, as the Foggy Sea, are like formally like signed into the harbor master and everything. There is a level of like, don't make like too big of a deal, but like he could get in contact with you. This isn't him just like, if you're suspects, he could still track, like he knows where your primary berth is in Boston. He could get in contact with the police and have them talk to you there. Yeah. Like this isn't him just like wiping his hands of you. He's saying, please move along, and if I need to, I can get you back. I have that ability.
I'll do whatever sort of like respectful thing of like, I give notes to the harbor master or like sign a thing that says we're deberthing, undocking, casting.
We have a radio.
Your experience.
Yeah.
We have a radio frequency like that you can get in touch with us if we're like within range of the coast. Perfect. Here's our radio frequency code if you want to try and hail us directly.
Yeah. Boston Harbor would be the main one, and through him he'd probably be able to get your home addresses and everything. So like they can get in contact if they need to. Speaking with Alice, you share another poignant conversation, which probably ends with her asking if you finally want to go get that dinner tonight.
I say, I'll be there, and then head out and gaze sunglasses into the... I'm out of town.
Awesome. The two of you reconvene and head back towards the harbor. It's just as the others are waking. It's getting towards like 10 a.m. or so. It's definitely not a full night's sleep, but it's enough that you're not going to be struggling through the day. If you all set off now, you can arrive in the. You can probably find the Order of the Stones camp around lunch when they return.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That all sounds good.
Okay.
I do not bring my axe. I do bring a wrench.
I do load up my bike because,
onto the boat. So the intention is like get back after this and head out.
Yeah.
Well, I guess otherwise I don't want to. I'm not leaving it here, and I want to be on. I want to be with the group. I'm not going to go off by myself. So yeah.
100%. It's got the ability to hold it. It definitely makes the deck pretty cramped, but it can fit it, and you tarp it down and tie it. Joe will remain to keep watch once more, and the four of you head back off into town.
You reckon Will I have 8 magic points back by the time I need them? Just mark those back up now.
I reckon put yourself to halfway there.
Ah, you bastard. It's 1 per hour.
Yeah, it is, but you've had about 4 hours rest, so I reckon halfway there, and as long as we get through it, I doubt this is a spell you're going to be casting on the fly too much, but you'll probably have it by the time you intend to get to the Barnes's house, you would have all 8. It's just this intervening period. Heading back through town and through the field once more, kind of intending to probably only come through once again as you leave. You kind of you've left some weird connections here. Like the guy in the general store sees you, and after you ask for dynamite, he just watches you traipse across the back of the field and into the woods. And he seems being like, what the fuck? And then heading off towards the sheriff. There's the librarian that you definitely get a scene of just seeing her, even though no one ever spoke to her, up on the second window, and she looks so suspicious at the moment. She's looking out at it, and then as you see her, she draws the curtains back and heads deeper inside. Damn, that was probably a really exciting side point. Who knows what that was about? You break under the trees and following Gaspar's tracks, head towards the camp. Jackson, do you want to say something?
Oh no, it's entirely earned. We have been very suspicious.
Yeah, for sure.
We've broken no
so
laws.
I'm not at all surprised.
We have broken hearts, but yeah.
It's also you've been super suspicious, but the one person, the sheriff, you're okay with, and so complain all you want, nerds.
Basically.
Suck it up.
I mean, I think that's pretty common for a small town. It's the people are suspicious, but not small town as in actual small town. Small towns in movies and films and narrative. Lots of people be suspicious, but they, if they decide to create a mob and come after you, the sheriff might not be able to stop them. But up until it gets to that point, they're just we don't like you.
I actually think for Call of Cthulhu, particularly the ones that our group has played, normally you guys are pretty tight with the town, the people like you, and then there's the one evil sheriff, mayor, priest, whatever, who hates you.
Usually in those scenarios, those people are fully on the side of the cultists. So,
whereas this is a poor town, and everybody has just flown in.
Yeah.
Both the cultists and the other cultists and the fisher people who are in the middle
Why
of
is
it,
this
and the
happening?
whole town is just what is happening?
Let us out. They don't know they're in media. They have no literacy of media. They don't know what's happening.
It's just like any of the towns or whatever when an RPG protagonist comes in and just starts smashing the furniture for gold, and you're just what?
Go away.
Why is a tiny
Leave us
child with a
alone.
sword yawing at me? I don't understand.
All right. You follow the path, easy peasy, and make your way through towards the cultist camp. As you find that rise again, looking down, it looks much the same, except the car has been de-treed and is absent. You can see a little pile of sticks towards the side, and the robes and things that were hanging on the line have all been taken down. A few of the rifles that were propped up are gone too. Clearly they are armed when they're going about their investigations. One person is keeping watch, quote unquote, but is not. They're just sitting by the fire and nearby. You guys can approach. Getting closer from here would be a stealth roll if you want to sneak up on them. According to your approximate maps, they should be back nearby soon. That said, they don't actually have the maps that they were looking at, so that might be a whole separate thing.
Yeah, of course. They actually don't know where to go. We ruined them.
I'm sure they have the capacity
So
of
they can figure that out.
acquiring another map, or they've been.
A lot
Anyway,
of confidence. I like
can
that.
we? Can we call out to the person so they know we're coming with an ahoy hoy?
Sure, yeah.
Basically.
Hit him with the oi hoi. He looks at his mobile phone. That hasn't rung. Who could it be?
He sees it. He rolls sanity.
The future.
What is this strange flat tablet thing?
He responds with the traditional Boston greeting of ahoy hoy. No, as he sees you coming down, you are
He
a
responds with a fuck off and cocks the gun.
yeah, that's more it. You are a
The
group
traditional
of
Boston greeting.
relatively armed. You don't have weapons out, but you are unexpected and unwelcome. He will turn and hoist a rifle and say, there's far enough. Who are you?
Oh. Bernie Green, captain of the Foggy Seas, crew of the Foggy Seas. Paul, Loose, Gaspar.
You're the...
We've met.
We have. This better not be an attack.
No.
Does it look like an attack?
It does.
We're not wielding any weapons, so
You've got the gun.
Yeah, and I aim to keep it that way. Listen, rest are gonna be back soon, so...
Listen, we've got the capabilities to help you guys out with what you're doing. One of the places that you're keen to check out this afternoon is the correct place. Don't go there with 2 people, go there with 4. We've seen it. The spooky shit that you're looking for is there.
Alright.
Missy would like us to help.
I don't know who that is. Listen,
Who's
lady,
that? Wait for
I
Thomas.
think we can handle ourselves, alright? Why don't you and your little fishing boat go
Let's
on
go
and
on,
get
please.
down? Here, go on, get out of here. Go
I've got
on.
your map.
You got our map. We know these woods like the back of our hands,
Alright,
okay?
this
We've been
is-
camping.
We're gonna wait for Tobias.
hey, you're in a public location, or at least an accessible location. We're also in the same location. You're right if we just, keep here for
No.
a little while until
No.
Tobias comes back.
You want some sardines?
Get out of here. Get...
Listen, we can smooth this though. We respect what you're doing. Can I try and set the
If someone
tone
can
for
make a social roll for me, please.
Yeah,
Intimidate would be totally fair in this one as well. Just try and get them.
I mean, I can back you up with an intimidate if you want.
I think if you
I've
act
got
tough, so
persuaded, that's it.
he possibly maybe considers things, and I'll act appropriately scared. Like if he, tries to be tough, I'll give him what he needs for his ego, kind of thing.
I'm Elise is happy to be like big and intimidating when necessary.
As just we're waiting for Tobias.
You do,
Yeah,
as you do, he does seem, he's not like trigger happy, but they are kind of, it's a bit like the boys have gotten together and are doing something stupid,
Yeah,
like you can see
cross
that
country
energy
trip,
of they're all like hyping each other up a bit about like how
Yeah.
cool is
Lads,
this that
lads,
we're
lads,
hunting,
lads,
like,
lads,
yeah.
lads.
They don't
Um,
want help.
Yeah, no, they super don't. And he also, this guy does not think it's that. But they have killed someone, so like they're clearly, on some level, not well. Well, they're in a cult, so that'll do it. Yeah, Jim, if you want to go ahead and give us.
All right, am I taking a bonus die for the intimidate system?
Oh yeah, are we intimidating
Yeah.
or charming them?
I think I think it was my idea.
we're trying
Was
to-
you're being intimidating, but I'm leveraging.
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna
as a-
stand behind you and be like, I'm rephrasing the if it's all right with you. Just be like, we're going to stand here till Tobias gets back.
And then,
it's
end
a-
off, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
We're
Paul,
happy to persuade and charm Tobias. This guy, though, is not in charge.
between all of you, yeah, Jim, go ahead and roll and take a bonus. This is just you.
So
That's
success.
An
And not-
intimidating charm.
Enough that you get him. He's like, I'm gonna keep the gun. Come down here where I can see you. Let's
Sure.
keep those hands, where, etc. You come down into the camp. As you head
Elise has no
down,
problems with not having a weapon in hands. Hands are weapons.
Yeah.
come and try it.
We hold the map out to him, just like,
Our roll is 65.
Uh,
I'm not bad.
Are you offering the map back, Bernie?
yeah.
Okay, he will take that. He does not say thank you, which is rude of him.
Didn't expect him to.
He sort of like wrenches it out of your grip and takes a few
How
steps
old
back,
is this person?
like a cool 20
Yeah, he's given 20-year-old
for
vibes.
sure. Yeah, he needs to get back to his bank job soon. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's running out of leave.
Yeah.
These are like
Oh,
they're
man. They really are just another bunch of us, aren't they?
For sure,
They could we could play these people.
Yeah, this
we
dude has
have played these people. We've played the worst of. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He steps back. You have a window. You're not exactly sure when they'll be back. But you probably hear the car approaching at least. You do have the numbers on him. There's a chance that you saw the case and things, Bernie, inside the tent. If you wanted to try and have a snoop around or anything before people are back, now might be an opportunity. Otherwise, we can just say that you...
No, we're coming here and open, palms open.
Okay.
You know, this is an honesty situation.
Yeah.
Good faith as possible.
Yeah, what we'd probably be doing, if anything, is chatting. I would probably want to strike up a conversation with my crew, not trying to chat to this kid, about the SS Champagne and some of the things that we would know in common. So practical matters that would just illustrate that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. In doing so, you can see that not only does he not have the full picture, he scoffs a bit about what you're talking about and thinks you guys are a bit nutty. He's like, as a club or whatever this is, you get the impression he's kind of just been given orders by a higher power within it, and if he wants to get higher, if he wants to get that job in one of the big four or whatever, he's going to do what he's told, and he's going to keep his... Badge. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But clearly clearly to an extreme level, they have killed someone. And are hiding in the woods from it, and they have done it and not really flinched. So there is a legitimate cult energy here of they are put to a point where they believe that they are in the power to do so, and that people will protect them or hurt them if they don't. And while I'm playing a bit,
he does know about the murder. We can confirm that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So
they were the ones that threatened.
Where, like,
there's also an element of like
and hasn't sort of...
he has a bit of like, he's probably not super wealthy himself, but he is part of he believes at least, a powerful enough faction that they have money in the pockets of, you know, governors and mayors and things that can possibly make this go away eventually. He just needs to do as he's told and he will rise up.
Mm-hmm.
But also there's an element of like, if you're, depending on how long you've been in that kind of situation, if you're in a environment where you are consistently getting told that there is a specific type of person that isn't actually a person anymore, they are essentially an object, the idea of stabbing what you have been like conditioned to understand as an object and no longer a person, I can kind of see a world in which you are like, someone can be in a situation where they stab someone and be like, well, yeah, because that thing that I stabbed is a conceptual non-entity. Yeah. It is not a person.
Oh.
Bizarrely.
Like,
and especially if doing so will get you, you know, money, power, government jobs down the track.
Yeah, and if you're consistently being told like, hey, what you're actually doing is like
saving the world.
You know what it is? It's I don't want to say that out loud on the internet. Let's not.
It's super
but
fucked.
Essentially, yeah, the idea of just being like indoctrinated into being like what we're doing is right, and
it was also
because we have right on our side.
It was also their leader that did it. Tobias did the actual stabbing. So this person who's the one in power has come in and done it, and to prove themselves or whatever else, and they are now like, we're like, wow, great, Dad's doing it, so I'll do it.
And it's a boys' club at the same time.
The lads.
Having a great time going down the pub and shooting at the range.
Mucking around.
I've seen it a million times before. Like, it's bad behavior is not bad if you're doing it for the right reasons. And
with friends.
And with friends who have convinced you, you know, echo chamber.
And God's
Whatever.
on your side.
Yeah. All right.
Whatever, I'll just offer him some more sardines then.
Yeah. There is a relatively tense, tense conversation, and then not too long after you hear the sounds of a car approaching. In pretty short succession, although not perfectly synchronized, the car will return containing Tobias and one other, and two more of the cultists will return on foot. All of them have packs on. For like hiking, and rifles slung across them. They are wearing more like hunter's attire. They are going for camouflage in the hide behind a bush manner, not camouflage as in I'm a normal person walking on the road. If someone actually saw them, they would look pretty suspicious. The people in the car are going for more like just driving along. But it does look a bit like beaten up, like the fenders all bent from where they drove it through a tree and stuff.
It looks sus as hell.
They also
Luce sees the car and is sad. Isn't as interested in cars as boats, but is still like, that's a mechanical like thing that has been poorly looked after and might need a tuning.
like seeing a horse.
David, let us make just a luck check to see if they all indeed arrive at the same time.
Do not want us to do
or if
this.
it's possible that we get like one of the squads first or something.
Yeah, if you'd rather one of the squads first, that's feasible. It'd be a group luck roll, so whoever's got the lowest is going to be rolling. Which is
I mean,
Luce, do you want to tell us how low your luck
is?
is?
Tobias returns
No.
Yeah.
with
I
before
don't.
the other two.
We don't want to risk this because our group luck is
Bad.
low.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Roughly the same time
I
is
think-
better than Tobias simply does not come back because we failed the luck roll.
That's right. And also to escalate this slightly, they return with rifles and things. When Tobias comes back, as the car is approaching and sees it, the other member is driving. Tobias reaches into the back and unclipping the case that, surprising no one, while it looked to be an instrument, withdraws a Tommy gun,
Yeah,
Oh, God.
that sounds right.
pushes in the round magazine, and actually fucking like chambers around.
Okay.
And as he gets out of the car, he points it towards you all with no trigger discipline. It's like
okay.
finger on the thing, and you just have this jumpy feeling of like, fuck me, like, even if he just falls backwards on a branch, we're gonna die. And as he comes back, he's gonna say, I thought I told you to get out of here.
You did, and we're going to. But first of all, Missy told us that we can help, that she'd like us to help.
He pauses at that and goes, you've been
Yeah.
talking to Michelle then?
Yeah.
Yeah. For what it's worth, you're still in charge. We just want to help.
That clearly ticks a box. And he says, hear that, lads?
Tobias.
Reinforcements are here. Okay. He
Luce looking solid. Like Luce is reinforcement.
Yeah. Now, our assistance, the frame within which we are able to assist, we're sailors, we're fisher people, we have a boat, we can do this by sea.
We also know the location that you actually want to get to. We've isolated which one it is.
Just to the one, so don't split your team.
So you know where they
You
are.
have the opportunity to just get all of your people to the right place at the right time together.
And we've got some, unconventional means of protection, if you know what I mean.
We also know that there's some unconventional threats and can tell you exactly where they are.
Okay, well, all right. This is good. Okay.
Do you mind taking that round out of the magazine there?
Yeah. He hoists it up, and while he does remove it, showing he is capable of using the weapon, he throws it just for half a second that, like, he is not a military trained
It gets
anything.
to unchamber the round or something. I don't know guns, so maybe.
I feel
Me
a
neither.
lot safer if this was the mob, is what I'm thinking. And usually when they were like, oh, these guys in Boston are, they're a little bit loose cannons, my brain went to, maybe they're kind of the mob. And now I'm like, I kind of wish they were the mob. Because
Yeah,
then
yeah.
at least they'd be able to handle their weapons.
Possibly connections, and possibly some of the others look a bit more like hunting capable. Tobias in particular, you do get a bit of a feeling of like upper class. He's got a bit of poshness about him, and he's probably a lot of this is theoretical or like a bit of fun on a weekend. The rest are probably possibly more capable. He does remove
I
it
love
and
that.
raise it. Okay, where are they? We're ready to act.
Show you on the show them on the map and basically say, there's I think we just give them the full story at this point, right? That's where we're at, and
Yeah.
say,
Yep.
We fill him in on what we found. We fill him in on where the captain and I went, and there does appear there was some. Are they at a stage, or like Tobias?
Will be.
Tobias is at the stage where we're like, we went to the place and got pretty good confirmation that there's something going on there. The waters were odd.
Not good. There were some indications that some of the things you may have read about have been made material there. So if this is where they're intending to do the ritual, then
I see.
That would make a lot of sense.
Okay.
We're interested in stopping this insofar as we want to make sure that whatever happened on the SS Champagne doesn't happen here. As insofar as what happens to the urn, what happens to the people, that's your call, mate. You're the one who's part of this fancy order. So we'll take orders. Well, I'll take orders from your captain. But
And I'll listen to yours.
we're in this so far as working together gets us both what we want, we're on your side in this.
Okay.
If you don't mind my asking, your sister did mention that you had some kind of scroll. We found another piece on the boat, on the SS Champagne, and obviously it's up to you, but we were wondering if we could have a gander at it. We got lucky with the first part, boat's all ship shape, if you know what I mean. If you'd be willing to give us a gander, we might be able to assist in helping with getting that knowledge where it needs to go.
Jaspar's a regular bookworm.
He
kind of giving, really leaning on the like, we'd like to take a look. We are not stealing your thunder, and we are not taking this away from you. We want to help you.
Look at this nerd. We've got a nerd.
Yeah.
You wanna go with our...
We want to help you get this, but also like we want to give you an opportunity to. I want to intimate to him we have someone who can cast spells. You can order that on us if you want to look like.
We're being sycophantic. We're trying to play.
Yeah.
Well, I'm being quiet because I can't be sycophantic.
Luce is being direct because that's what Luce does.
And it's as close as we can get. He puffs up and speaks loud enough that everyone can hear. And it's clearly with his performance voice. He's projecting a bit. And he says, "We are a sect that has existed for thousands of years, sworn to protect the world, and placed into my care, indeed, is one of the fragments of the Scroll of Zivon. I have managed to translate some elements. I have mastered the works within. But you think you can interpret some fraction of this? Understand, this piece is so important that men have died to protect it."
Well, if this is important, it's clearly important. We would only be looking at this under your guidance and with your approval, of course.
And like, you are a man of action, correct? I can tell that.
I am.
Immediately, you're a man of action. You're all men of action here, and you in particular. My grandson's a man of books. You know, not a man of action, not like you.
If my sister vouches for
Definitely
you,
a young man of books, though. Basically, he's a nerd. You know, not a threat to nerd.
my sister trusted you,
Little bookworm.
and if she trusted you with the first portion of the scroll,
Hey, whatever works, man.
then I will do the same. Come with me, young child. And he claps you on the shoulder. He is,
Again, this is the part I put myself into.
I think there will be like.
at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point, though,
Mister, I sure would like a look at that scroll.
he's,
darling.
he'd be like
Basically.
27, 28,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
I
he's
think-
probably the oldest of the group here. They're all pretty young.
Yeah.
Michelle's older than him. This is definitely the
Yeah.
younger brother.
I think there'll be a moment of before Gaspar gets whisked away by Tobias of Bernie kind of just putting your arm around him and leaning in, going, "You were smarter than all of these blockheads,
But don't let
and
them.
you cannot let them know that. You know that. I know that. We all know that.
Aye.
Just roll with it.
Luce
It's
absolutely
like the sea,
catches
buddy.
like
Just
yeah.
roll with it."
Luce catches Gaspar's eye, and in this moment, probably the first time ever, Luce has a look of like, you got this. Go get him.
Oh, all right. It is
Thanks,
nice
Jay.
having a job to do.
Ship's
Once
wizard.
everyone else knows what it is.
Ship's wizard.
Again, 27 sanity, 40 power. This is not going to last, people. Let us set expectations.
Literally, Joseph is possibly the worst one for it. I was so excited by it. He walks you into the tent, just the two of you. The rest stay outside with.
Can I offer to have a look at their car?
Sure.
Like, if we're gonna just be like, kind of, just being like, hey, I can see your car's a bit banged up. I'm the mechanic. Obviously, I deal with boats more than cars, but I'm not bad. Do you want me to take a look? Just make sure she's running nice.
Yes, good. You fix the car.
I very, very much.
Whatever.
Like, sure. Very flippant, like friendly flippant, and we'll go over and take a look at the car.
Okay, perfect.
I am, not.
It is actually in all right condition. It's mostly cosmetic,
but
you can
take a. I don't care about taking a roll for it. It's just like, can I tune it up a bit and have something to do while everything else is going on?
You check on it. You'll also notice it's not warded or anything like your ship. Like it's just a car. It can seat all of them if people. It's got like 2 rows. Some would be have to like almost on the lap in the back, but it can accommodate them. Possibly suggest there's another car somewhere that how they arrived, or maybe someone took the bus. Not sure. But
Is
yeah,
it a motorcycle?
Not here at least. Might be somewhere else.
They could have come up from Boston on a ship, like there would have been.
Yeah.
Passage on a ship or something. Whatever.
Yeah. And you give it a look over and begin to repair it. Paul and Benny, the only thing else is, as you're there and the others are sort of talking, you looking around, like, they clearly have some experience with hunting and things. They did an alright job setting up the camp initially, and now they're not really maintaining it so much. They've gotten a bit lazy with it. It's beginning to get a bit like, there's just cans and bottles dropped over and stuff. Like, they've not been maintaining, and possibly, like, not necessarily morale, but, like, efficiency and like we do the watches and things are beginning to slip, and they now that there's actually a chance to like go and get something, they're just locking in on that. They're like, now we've got a mission. They're all checking over their weapons. They're also all getting their robes, and they're going to wear those for the next section. So they're putting on these brown cloaks with deep hoods, and they're each strapping these long double-edged knives like onto their hips, and then resettling like their rifles over their backs and everything.
Luce is just like in the background, Everett like looking over and just like has a very heavy wrench and just does that like flip and catch, and goes back to like tinkering on the car, and is just like, I could brain any one of you. This is not a problem.
This is making me less scared of him.
A lot of wandering into the woods and being seen going into the woods and talking about the woods. I feel like it's not out of the question that the sheriff and deputy might check the woods, and I just really like to be able to give a quick whistle so that we can duck out of sight if the sheriff decides to wander in and spots people. So I might just take the watch.
There's that Overwatch position. Yeah, you could go and do that. They look like they're probably actually going to even begin breaking down the camp. The intention is like, do this last thing and then let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And it's a good point that you guys going into the woods. If it ever comes out that, like, if you revealed to them that these were the people that did the killing, you have now kind of associated, like, it does begin to muddy things a bit. But that sounds like a future problem. Let's not worry about that too much. Inside the tent, Gaspar and Tobias walk over to a small camp table, and from a locked box underneath his bed, Tobias begins to like put in a combination and then haul it open, and there's a long like tube with like seals and golden inlays and things, and clearly very expensive and genuinely well cared for. It's seated in velvet and seems to be quite out of place amongst the rest of the sort of miscellaneous, just practical hunting equipment. Tobias takes it, says a few words in Gaelic, and then twists it, pulls it apart, and begins to pull from it a small piece of parchment, torn section of a larger scroll. Seems very similar to the one that you've already studied, as it's laid out before you.
Give that to Michelle?
It did go back to Michelle. The original went back to her.
Oh yeah, because it was hers, wasn't it? Yeah.
But she gave you the opportunity to look over it, and we never really got into the details, but I imagine Gaspar's made a copy or something that you all have. Congratulations, Gaspar, you've written a Mythos tome. It's the sort of thing that'll be discovered by other parties in the future.
You've written a fraction.
the first part of one. It's put down in the center, and he weighs down the edges with a heavy goblet and a knife on the other, and then steps to the side so that you can look over it yourself. He doesn't give you full privacy, but he's genuinely letting you read it. And Jackson, I'll share the second fragment with you.
I just remembered, if this is a spell, I'm at risk of sanity loss.
Yeah, it's a tome. You're going to take a sanity hit for sure.
Is it?
So just skimming it.
You get it for skimming or for
you take
for
two,
reading in full?
You take 2 hits. There's the first for skimming, and the second for a full study.
Learning.
So as you look over it, you see more about the Order of the Stone's mission, which is to protect against Agran Talon Soth, the thing that they have kind of built their whole order around and has since fallen into just legend and myth. It talks about how this thing cannot be damaged by bullets and axes and spears when they first summoned it and were able to trap it back away, but they learned that it could be combated using magical flames, and it begins to detail a spell called Flame of the Ancients, which Tobias is eager to tell you he has learned. There are the details in there around it, and if you wish, in time, you could learn this spell too, Gaspar. But first, increase your Cthulhu mythos by 3, and can you please lose a D8 of sanity?
A D8?
Yeah.
It's written on that handout, Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
What
It's
handout?
right there.
Oh, we're looking at a handout.
Yeah, I showed you it in the Roll20.
I wasn't paying any attention. Oh, there it is. Second fragment. There it is. All right, fantastic. And the study time is 1 week. Good.
So that's for the full. That's for the full learning. You can attempt to cast the spell from the scroll. It would be more difficult. That's kind of what everyone did on the champagne was working with like the existing one. So yeah. Very good. This one talks about much more detail about their enemy and about its sort of fundamental essences, being how they combat it using fire. So yeah, if you want to roll a D8 for us, first of all.
I don't.
Yeah, me neither. Well, actually, no, I
it's a
do. I
shame.
think it's cool and good.
Just roll a 1. I would suggest.
Just crit
that's
this
what
one,
I'll
yeah.
do.
Just be really good. Just do it really well.
That's
That's not.
so
That's the opposite.
bad.
That's the opposite of doing it really well. Just so you know.
I can feel a cliffhanger coming along because that's
Yeah, me too. Is
That's
that indefinite?
Insanity. 100. Oh, it's over indefinite.
You would
Okay.
need.
Yeah, no.
I think
Weren't
that's
you-
an
we weren't
awesome
you
Already
cliffhanger.
at indefinite last time, like last.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thing.
and then like a reset back to 27, and so now my threshold is 5.
And
Your
that's
threshold
8.
is your threshold is temporary. Is indefinite for
Yeah.
you. Wild.
Exactly right.
I'd love
Good.
to. I think absolutely cliffhanger. This is where I'm going to leave it. Jackson, I think it's you can't trust these people. They're incompetent. I think it's a grab the scroll and go kind of situation.
God, that's
so I
so
think with
good.
Luce underneath the car, tinkering it away, with a few of the cultists just shrugging on their robes, and with Tobias, while he has discarded the Tommy gun, it was left to the side, he is just nearby Gaspar, unarmed except for the knife laid nearby.
And I
Gaspar,
just walked
reading
off to
go and do the watch
outside.
out. You'll start hearing gunshots. That'll be good. With Gaspar reading over these words and with his mind recently opened, and the confidence of casting a spell that can repel this creature, hold it at bay, reads that there is the means within here to destroy it, but does not believe that these people can do so. His hand darts out to snatch it. Tobias yells and lunges forward, and that is where we are going to leave this session.
That's so good.
Well,
Awesome. Amazing.
Amazing.
Very, 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 very good. We love to see it.
I mean, if they've dealt with mythos stuff, hopefully they understand the breaking of the mind.
They'll
but,
understand.
Man, I
They
don't know
know
about
what
understand
happens.
stealing, but
They have
If
pointedly
we all
not
go-
had any experiences, so...
no.
it's true. That's
But I'm
true.
sure I'm
Yeah,
not
so
the
Tobias
first
saying-
person who's read this and had a bad
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
They'll
they were,
like-
they were probably
Because a lot of them might be
executed.
unbelievers. Like,
Hey.
Yeah, the implication is that Tobias is saying that he's read this and he knows it and he gets it. I reckon he didn't. I reckon he got like the tickle in the back of the brain and put it down and has not looked at it since.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
And
He
has
probably
not
only
read it.
skimmed it.
And
He hasn't
does not,
learned it.
He hasn't even skimmed it. I don't even reckon he skimmed. I reckon it was like a.
Oh, he said no. Didn't he say that he's cast it before?
No, he
yes,
said
he
he's
might.
learned it. He said he's
You
learned
get
he's
it.
learned it.
casting.
And
You
he said that.
Cast it.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's possible.
lying.
If he's like he also if he's never seen anything except this scroll, it's
Yeah.
possible that he's fine. Or
Yeah.
you know.
that he got a whoopsie doodle tickle, and yeah.
Regardless, how we deal with the situation is a time for next session, which will be in, David.
2 weeks. Yeah, so we will not be playing Order of Stone next week. I am away. But instead there'll be a one-shot run. I think Jim's going to take command of that one. So tune in to see what that's all about. But we will be back on, let's play a little bit of time zone. It's going to be the first for us, which is going to be the 28th for like most of the world. So yeah, we'll be back here to see how our investigators who have stood against gods handle a lot of drunken idiots with bullets. The real horror of Cthulhu, other people with guns. We do very much hope you'll join us.
I'm really hoping that Gaspar's build is 0 because I'm gonna grab it.
I hope Gaspar can run really fast.
Pick him up.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
You'll be excited to know. In preparation for this session, I not only read the casting a spell for the first time rules, I also read the full automatic machine gun rules
Yeah,
again
as soon
to
as you said
remind
machine
myself
gun,
of
I
how
was
Tommy
like,
guns worked. And
This
boy, howdy, this could be a thing.
This could be bad.
It's a real chance for just who knows. Basically, this is just we built a bonfire of gasoline and let's strike the match and see what happens. So yeah, very excited about that. So yeah,
It's real. Guns and explosives solve everything for investigators, which is why these people have got a lot of them.
yep, exactly. They have brought the solutions to the problems they have created. All right, we will leave
And
it
then we
there.
brought Gaspar, and yeah,
That's our gasoline.
cool.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thanks crew for playing.
Thanks, Dave.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Well, some people will see you next week. Semantics. Ciao.
Bye.